then you can use a block. Actually, 2 blocks. If you are still opening up the front of your body and kind of working on your posture, then I just suggest lying down on the bolster. But if you're gonna use a block, there would be one at the head for a pillow, and then one at the, like between the shoulder blades. So say this is a block. So it just gives a bigger back bend to open up the lungs for what we're gonna do, okay? And you can even go different levels on the block. You can even go medium. I wouldn't go tall for this, but once you're all set up, you can have your arms just along the side of the body. If you're not feeling any stretch in the arms, then, or the shoulders, the pectoral muscles, I would just kind of slide the hands closer up towards the head. You can even have them all the way up if you want. And just begin to notice the breath that you've brought to the mat today. Without judgment, just neutral awareness and observation. There's a quote by a teacher that I would like to read to you. And then we're going to do a controlled breath practice. Whatever work we attempt cannot be perfectly done unless our minds are tranquil and calm. And that begins with the breath. Pranayama calms and focuses your mind, and it prepares your lungs for the asana practice. Once we move through the postures and still the mind even more and kind of make the body a little bit more mobile, then we'll revisit the control of the breath to see if there's any difference. It can either be practiced before or after, especially in an aligned Iyengar-based class like this one. So the breath we're going to do is 5, 5, 10. We're going to inhale for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, and then elongate the exhalation for 10 seconds. It might not be exactly those numbers for you, but just try to do the best that you can. If you feel anxiety or uncomfortable or stress at any time, just regular breath. So go ahead and take a deep breath in and then exhale. And then next inhalation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Continue doing that. Inhale for 5, count quietly in your head. Do one more round wherever you are, one more round. And then go back to your regular passive breathing. Feel the expansion of the lungs. Oxygen reaching every cell of the body. And then we're going to carefully roll onto our side. So just bend the knees one at a time. Roll onto your side. And push yourself up. You can move the block or the bolster out of the way. And we're going to come to a straddling twist. So legs are going to be facing the left. You'll be on your right sitting bone. Right fingertips behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come into a twist where you're pressing the left hand onto the right knee. Take 3 breaths here and kind of keep going with that pattern, not holding the breath or pausing the breath, but just deep, slow breathing. You can even close your eyes still to continue to focus inward. Next exhalation, come back to center. Bring the knees up. Flip it to the other side. Left fingertips behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come into the twist. Right hand on the left knee. Keep the chest lifted, spread the collarbones. Chin is parallel to the floor. Right shoulder is pressing back. And then exhale, come to center. We're gonna actually continue with one leg back. So right leg is gonna straighten this time, and then the left leg will go behind us. Try to get the top of the foot, the whole top of the foot is not gonna come on the floor, but just try to make sure it's flat. And then you can roll your calf out to the side just to make some extra room for the leg to fold. The heel should definitely be touching the side of the body. And then separate the knees as far as you can. We're gonna do like a Janu Shirshasana prep here. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring the right arm down, forearm down to the ground. If that isn't going all the way down, take your strap, put your strap around your foot and hold on to it with your right hand. Let me go get it while we do that. All right, so I would still be holding this. My forearm might not touch the ground. Now rotate the left shoulder open. And you can either put your left hand behind your back and just continue to rotate open, or you can bring the left arm up. And then as you exhale, keep the chest lifted as you reach to the side. Side bend here. Maybe you can grab your toes. I cannot. If you're able to and still keep the head looking up, then go ahead and do that. Take one more breath here. Soften the top ribs. Exhale, come all the way up. Other side. Use your hands to help you bring your knees back. Right leg behind you. And then straighten the left leg. So a little trick here for the straight leg is to take the thigh and kind of tuck it under. That will, get your ground your sitting bone, your left sitting bone. Your right sitting bone will not be touching the ground, most likely. Get your strap if you need to. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold over the left leg, forearm to the ground. And we're going to use this to help press the chest open. Keep your hand here, or inhale, right arm up. And then just continue to exhale, rotate open. Exhale, soften, rotate open. Soften the top ribs. Find your breath. Next exhalation, come all the way up. You can bring the legs together. We're gonna come into our Upavista Konasana, so wide angle with the legs. Start with your fingertips behind you because we're focusing on the alignment for this one. Now, if you had 2 straps, that would be cool. I don't even have 2 straps here right now, but maybe we'll focus on this one day in class. Just get 2 belts or something where we hold on to the feet and pull back. But for now, we're going to focus on pressing the knees open and keeping a long spine. Shoulders back, like you're squeezing that orange between the shoulder blades. So there's going to be no rounding here, only hinging at the hips. Keep the feet flexed. Pressing out through the ball mounds of the big toes so we can ground the femurs. Maybe you can walk the fingertips a little further. Pressing the hamstrings onto the ground. Take a couple more breaths here and just keep softening into it. Find where your edge is, your safe stretch. Remember, we're going for 70%, not 100. Neck is nice and long. One more breath. Exhale, come up. Use your hands to bring your knees up. And then we're going to come into child's pose. So come to hands and knees. Widen the knees. Bring the toes together. Sit back on the heels. Walk the hands forward. Drop the head to the ground or block. So something I want you to notice in this child's pose today is where you might be feeling any unevenness. Is there a side of the body that you're focusing or have your weight shifted to, or maybe you're protecting one side of the body, maybe the left or the right hip? Feeling where that tightness is. Maybe one shoulder is a little bit lower than the other. Just be aware of these things. And continue the breath to still the mind. We're going to take one more full breath here. And then exhale, lift the head. Come to hands and knees. Bring the knees together, not even hip width apart, but just bring them together. And then we're going to sit back down on our heels. And we're going to do a type of thread the needle here to stretch the shoulders. So just bring the left arm underneath the right. And I guess for this, you can lift up off of your heels if you need to, but if you have a block nearby, just rest your head on the block. The right arm is going to be straight. One more breath. Exhale, support yourself with the right hand to lift up, and do the other side. Right hand and arm underneath the left. Rest the head, straighten the left arm. We'll do one more breath here. And then exhale, press yourself up, back to hands and knees. Widen the knees one more time. And we're going to walk the hands forward and bring the chest and the chin to the mat. If that doesn't happen, it's okay. Again, use your block. Try to get the chest. So your sitting bones are going to have to go way up here. Try to get the chest to the mat, chin. My chest does not go to the mat because I don't have a ton of flexibility in my spine, but my chin does. We're going to take a couple more breaths here. That should feel like a good extension in the spine, opening up the chest. Or it might be super uncomfortable, and that's okay too. Next exhalation, go ahead and walk the hands so you can come back up to hands and knees. Knees are hip width apart, and we're going to bring the hands a little bit closer to the top of the mat so we can come into our downward facing dog. So press the roots of the fingers, be sure you're at least shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider. Wrist creases are level with the front of the mat. Curl the toes under, hip sockets up and back, and pedal the feet out. Do some really big pedaling, like even lift, push the heel all the way down to the mat with one foot and lift and bend the knee deeply on the other leg. Just do really big, deep stretches here with the legs. And then go ahead and slow down your walking. Lengthen through the tailbone, separate the feet hip width apart if they're not already. And then we're gonna come into plank from here. We're gonna take 3 breaths in plank before we move down to chaturanga. So shift your weight forward. Shoulders should be directly over the wrists. Pressing back through the heels and pressing out through the crown of the head. Navel to spine, Mula Bandha. Engage the lower belly. Your Ujjayi breath might kick in here at this time too. Victory over the plank pose. Next exhalation, we're gonna shoot the elbows straight back. So push yourself a little bit forward on the toes. Elbows straight back, nice and slow, evenly lower the body. Uncurl the toes, bring your hands to the lower ribs, not the middle of the ribs, definitely the lower ribs. So your elbows are closer together and your elbows are over the wrists. We're gonna lift up into cobra, so press the tops of the feet into the mat, press the pubic bone into the mat, engage the buttocks. We're gonna take 3 breaths here. Even if you're at baby cobra, that's fine. But keep the pelvis and the pubic bone pressing onto the mat. Shoulders back. One more breath. Exhale, fold. Back to hands and knees, curl the toes under, hips up and back. Take a breath here, we're gonna do that again. Shift forward into plank, adjust the feet if you need to, but don't let the shoulders go over the wrist. Next exhalation, go ahead and chaturanga down. Slow, slow, slow. Uncurl the toes. Hands to the lower ribs. Press up. You're pressing the quadriceps, the tops of the feet. Everything is working in the lower body. The arms are working. Exhale, lower. I said fold last time, but I just seen if you were listening. Go ahead and come back to hands and knees. Curl the toes under, hips up and back. One more time, 3rd time for good luck. Remember, you can go to your knees for this too at any time, or you can just go right into child's pose. Here we go. Plank. Push the floor away from you. Get out of the shoulders. Looking straight down at the mat. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands to lower ribs, up into cobra. So it's like you're pulling the spine out of the waist. Long spine. Imagine space between each vertebra as you lengthen. And then exhale, fold. Push yourself back to hands and knees. And then curl the toes under, downward facing dog. We're gonna walk the feet towards the hands. So just slowly walk. We're not coming up just yet. We're gonna hang here and give our arms a rest. So lift the sitting bones, bend the knees if you have to still, drop the heart towards the knees, the thighs, towards the body. Grab opposite elbows if you need to, or you can just leave the arms hanging, but drop the head completely. Do a little rocking left to right. Let the head completely hang like it's hanging from a thread. Notice where the weight is in your feet. Drop the sitting bones, bring the fingertips back to the mat. And then we're gonna inhale and come all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Good, come to Tadasana. And then I'm going to have you guys grab your block so we can kind of break down our Uttanasana for a moment. Our forward folds, which I know it seems like you're just folding forward. And I swear I did yoga for like at least 12 or 13 years before I was like, whoa, this is so different now. So grab your block, put it on the tallest setting. I don't know what else to say. I'm around, kids all the time. Okay, so come to Tadasana. Inner edges of the feet are parallel. The toes do not have to be together. You can have a little bit of a space there, sitting bone width apart. Engage the legs. The trick of the forward fold is to create space in the hip sockets when you fold so that the sacrum can release, and that will allow the pelvis, you'll be able to hinge forward. So how we do that is we rip the mat apart with our feet. So we engage the quadriceps and internally rotate the femurs. Keep ripping the mat apart with your feet. Keep straight legs. Don't bend the knees just yet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, start to hinge forward. I'm going to do it from this side. So the hamstrings are eventually going to get in the way. And once they do, see if you can bring your fingertips to the block. Once they get in the way, we're going to do it again. Engage the quadriceps. So rip the mat apart with your feet, internally rotating the femurs. Lengthen through the crown of the head and see if you can go a little further with straight legs. Continue doing that until you go as far as your body will let you go today. So no rounding in the back at all. And then once you arrive, take a few breaths, lift the sitting bones. Be sure your legs are still engaged so you're protecting the hamstring attachments. If you are able to fold all the way in half, you can even wrap your arms around your legs, drop your head, come into a full Uttanasana. And then when you're finished, this could be a super relaxing pose, but it might be pretty difficult. When you're done, bend the knees slightly. And then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Ooh, that's different, right? So each time we go down, whether it's a sun salutation or whatever, really quick, go through that whole machinery in your mind, and you will go further and further over time. And safely, that will protect your back. Go ahead and grab your strap, put it in front of you on the floor, and just have it ready. All right, Tadasana legs. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Bring the arms to the sides of the body. Right hand is going to stay on the right leg. Left arm comes up. Exhale, lean to the right. Slide the right hand down the leg. Inhale, back up. arm down on the exhale, other side. Inhale up. Exhale, lean to the left. Back to center, arm back down. Take the right index finger to the left side of the head by the ear. Straighten and stretch the left out through the left fingertips. And then draw the right ear towards the right shoulder. You don't need to pull on the head, it's just there as a guide. The head is heavy enough to stretch the neck, which is super sensitive, or fragile, or both. If you're reaching out through the fingertips, you might be getting a stretch all the way down the arm. Go ahead and release, other side. Left index finger guides the right side of the head so the left ear can reach or be guided towards the left shoulder. Stretch out through the right fingertips. Even as we're doing this, pay attention to the weight evenly distributed in the feet. One more breath. Exhale, release. Good, grab your strap. Each time you bend over, do it with a flat back. Unless your back isn't strong enough yet, if you feel like you're gonna throw your back out, definitely bend your knees, but continue to practice. My family kind of laughs about that, but I don't care. I'm either squatting to like unload the dishwasher, or I'm, bending over like this to brush my teeth over the sink, but I'm always thinking Tadasana legs, Tadasana spine. It's very useful. It's helped me a lot in my life. Grab your strap. We're gonna stretch the arms. Right arm up, bend, left thumb down, reach behind you. If you are able to grab the fingertips, then you can go ahead and clasp onto the fingertips. As long as you can keep the chest lifted, which I cannot do on this side. Find your breath. Find your Tadasana legs. Pull down on that strap. And as I stand here, I'm almost like forced to put my weight forward. Sink the hips back. Get lighter on the toes if you need to, that's okay. You'll notice it also forces you to kind of engage those deep abdominal muscles, which is toning. Exhale, release. And I don't mean toning for looks, I mean toning for function. All right, bend the left elbow, right thumb down, reach up. Tadasana legs, chin parallel to the floor, spread the collarbones. Take one more breath here. And then exhale and release. Ooh, all right. You can put your strap down, grab your block. And actually, so Coley, you're just gonna practice your alignment in Warrior 2, and you could try this later when you're inside. I would definitely opt to be outside, so you're not missing out. Okay, so we're gonna take the block near our wall. And Barbara, I'm trying to see if you have a wall nearby. If not, that's okay, just do the Warrior 2. I'm gonna do it with my left leg first so you can see me. So right leg will be back. We're gonna be facing the wall this time, okay? Toes are gonna be touching the wall. And then block will go, if you have a blanket or something, put it over the toes just in case you drop the block. Knee will go into the block. And then we're gonna adjust our back leg. So here we're just gonna do the legs, okay? We'll take 3 breaths. Right shoulder rotates back. And then we are going to reverse this. So right hand will go on the back of the right thigh. Left arm will come up and back. Keep the knee bent. A lot of the times when we reverse, we forget about the knee bend. And now come forward for your side angle. Bring the left arm on top of the thigh. Drop the back heel. Right arm is going to come up and just touch the wall. Rotate the chest open. We'll take 3 breaths here. Continue to rotate the thighs externally. So rotate the thighs out, out. 1 more breath. Come back up. And then grab the block to straighten the leg. You guys are going to have super strong quadriceps by the end of this week, between Tuesday and today. I need my sticky mat for this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the other side. Actually, I guess I can do it on this side with you guys. Right toes up against the wall. Take your wide stance. Bend in the knee. Hold the block there. So the pelvis drops. Rotate the left shoulder back. We'll take 3 breaths here. See if you can find stillness in the mind while you're in this posture. Maybe your Ujjayi breath kicks in. Bring the left hand to the back of the left leg. Right arm up and back. Next exhalation, bring the right forearm to the top of the right thigh. Left arm comes up and touches the wall. Keep the chest rotated open. Use that back leg. The front leg doesn't have to do all the work. Engage the glutes. Exhale, come back up. Grab the block. Straighten the leg. Bring the toes in. And then we're going to put the block to the side and do that without the block. All right? So let's go ahead and take a wide stance. See if we can just train our brain to keep that alignment, even when we're doing this at a faster pace in the flow classes. So from the right hip socket, rotate the right toes out. We'll do this side first. Press the outside of the left leg, come into your knee bend. If your knee's going over your ankle, just adjust. Go ahead and rotate the left shoulder back. Extend the arms open. Check your back foot. My toes were out. They shouldn't have been. Parallel or a little bit in. Look over the front fingertips. Take a look at your right knee. Be sure it's not collapsing. Next exhalation, we'll reverse it. So right arm up and back. This back leg is still working. Exhale, right forearm to the top of the thigh. Left arm up and over. Let's do bicep to ear this time. Rotate the shoulders open. 2 more breaths. Feel your feet on the ground. See what they're doing. Exhale. Go ahead and come back up to warrior 2. Bring the right toes in, left toes out. Be sure your foundation is good, and then bend in that left knee. Drop the pelvis. Right shoulder back. Extend the arms. Look over the left fingertips. Neck is long. Good. You guys look great. Take 1 more breath here. And then exhale, reverse. Next exhalation, come into side angle. So left forearm on top of the left thigh, reach the right arm up and over, bicep to ear. So you'll notice that I closed up here. Rotate that right shoulder back again. And if we were to take the arm off the leg, we should still be able to support ourselves. So the forearm is lightly on the leg. Exhale, back to warrior two. Left toes in. Good. I want you to bring your feet back together. Hop or walk them back together. Use the block in a second, but come to the front of your mat so we can do a vinyasa here. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back. You'll never look at those forward folds the same. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, everything up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lengthen through the tailbone. And then inhale, look up, get to the front of your mat. Exhale, fold. This is where it comes in. If you are rounding your back and you can't touch the fingertips to the floor without doing this, then come to your shins or even your thighs. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, fold. Or I'm sorry, hands in front of the heart. I forgot the fold in there. My brain decided to say it at the end. Right arm or right leg. Easy for me to say on this Thursday evening. Sorry, guys. All right, so we're back into wide legs. We're gonna try the forward fold with the block. The same way we did with our legs together. With the legs apart, it is a lot easier. So usually you don't need the block, but we're gonna use the block anyways, even if you don't need it. So let's go ahead and engage the quadriceps and then press the feet so you feel. You're not going to feel like a huge internal rotation in the hips, but you're going to lift the sitting bones. Hands on your hips, keep the legs. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, keep the legs strong. Lift the sitting bones. Bring your hands to the block. Take a break here, even if your hamstrings are not yelling at you yet. Inhale, lengthen. Engage the legs. Rip the mat apart with your feet. Exhale, fold a little bit more. You'll notice how it creates space for you to hinge. So keep doing that until you get all the way down to the ground. If your back starts to round, stop with the block and then drop the head. Keep the shoulders back. Wherever your hands are, bring the left hand to the center, right below the face. And then bring the right fingertips up to the ceiling, coming into this twist. And then exhale, right hand down. Inhale, left fingertips up. Exhale, bring them down. Bring your hands back to your waist. Legs strong, super strong. Come all the way up. Nice. Hop or walk your feet back together. Soft hop. Come to the front of your mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then go ahead and come to hands and knees, cross the ankles, and have a seat. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. If you could guess how many blocks a yoga teacher could use after practicing for 10 years doing a forward fold with a straight spine, you would never guess how many blocks I had to use for a long time. I'll tell you, it was like 10. I'm not kidding. Queen of the tight hamstring club. But it's not like that now. Once I started doing it with integrity, my hamstrings were okay letting go. So that's where the difference comes in. All right, let's go ahead and bring our legs forward in Dandasana. So same thing. Once we go into Paschimottanasana, which is the forward fold, same thing as that we were doing standing up, like Uttanasana. So instead of using a block, we'll use a strap. So let's stay here for a moment. Flex the feet, shoulders back, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then grab your strap if you think you're going to need it. Release the pose, grab the strap. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Engage the legs and just hinge forward. Once you feel the thoracic spine starting to round, just back up a little bit. Put the strap around your feet and make your arms longer. So rip the mat apart with your feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hinge forward. Wherever you stop, let's just go ahead and take a few breaths there. So look down between the shins, wherever you are. That way we're not bending the neck up. Straight arms on the straps, shoulders back. And then inhale, come all the way up. Put your strap off to the side for now. Let's go ahead and do our half Lord of the Fishes pose. Bend the right knee, knee pointing forward. Left foot over the right knee. Left fingertips behind you. Just grab the knee, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come into the twist. Exhale, come back to center. Other side. Left knee down, right foot outside of the left knee. Just grab the knee this time. Right fingertips behind you. Come into the twist. Exhale, come back to center. I want to do, before we lie back down on the mat and do some finishing postures, I want to do the pranayama one more time, but we're going to do it sitting up so we can feel a deeper breath. So we're going to come into hero pose for that. I know all three of you are able to do that and are familiar with it. So I'm just going to kind of explain for those that are going to watch this and cannot get into it or all the way down. You can sit on a block. You're going to roll the calf muscles out, the gastrocnemius, and then bring the legs parallel to each other. The heels will be on the outside of the legs. And then we're going to get tall in the spine. You can do whatever you want with your hands. You can cup them in this mudra, shoulders back. And after a couple of breaths, kind of just notice what's going on with the body. We're going to practice the 5-5-10 breath again. I'll let you count on your own in your head. Go ahead and begin on the next inhale. Do one more round. And then go back to a regular passive breath. Blink the eyes open if they were closed. Just make a mental note of any changes you felt from the beginning to now after having that asana practice in between. And then before we get out of this posture, as long as your knees are okay, well, even if they're not, we're gonna listen to our bodies. Bring your fingertips behind you. We're not gonna go full on supine hero pose, but we are gonna just walk the hands back as far as we can. If you can comfortably and safely go down to your forearms, go ahead. If you cannot, don't push it. This is a very vulnerable pose, especially for the knees. If you feel anything at all in the knees, back out of it. And then even coming out of it, you're going to go super slow, pushing yourself up. And then tipping forward, using your hands to support you until you can cross the ankles, come back to a seated position, and lie down on the mat. Once you're lying down on the mat, give your knees a hug. Just to kind of neutralize after that. That is, if it's a supported one, it's not supposed to be a back bend, you know? It's like lying flat on the mat here with, I'll do it with this leg, with the leg back in hero pose. Crazy, right? But with both knees. Once you're done hugging the knees, we'll go ahead and bring them back to the mat. Grab the strap one more time. Straighten the left leg. Supta Hasta Panicurshasana. Lift the right leg. 3 breaths here. Your hamstrings should be pretty warmed up and nice and long, so see if you can go a little bit further. And then exhale, take it out to the side. Like you're barely touching the strap. You're using the muscles in the legs to open up. And then back to center. Grab the straps with the left hand, right arm out. Cross over the center line. Check your left leg, be sure it's still active with the toes pointing up. Come back to center, grab a strap in each hand. Deep breath in. Exhale, chin to shin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And release. Other side. By the way, if you can do this with a straight leg and grab the toe, you don't have to use the strap. I know you probably already know that, but just to reiterate. Right hand on the thigh, 3 breaths here. Shoulders are relaxed towards the mat, soften the jaw, soften the throat. Exhale out to the left. Slow and steady. Bring it back to center. Switch hands, left arm out, cross over the midline of the body. Back to center, grab a strap in each hand, inhale. Exhale, lift up with the heart, chin to shin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Float the leg down. Strap off to the side. Bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees hang open for a moment. And then exhale, bring the knees back together safely with the hands. You can do whatever your body needs here. If you feel like you need one more twist or happy baby or a stretch, go ahead and do any of those things before we get into our Shavasana. And then roll onto your side to come up to get your sweatshirt on or whatever it is that you need to do. And when you're ready, you'll be on your back with your palms facing up. I always appreciate you guys just being ready for Shavasana. I always have to put on socks, sweatshirt, cover my head with a blanket. I'm attached to those things right now. Take a deep breath in and exhale completely.